Drew didn't show up to court, and now he got a warrant out for his arrest. Yup. So if y'all are not all caught up, Drew owes hella money on child support to Arlita, and she took him to court, and he never showed up. But she thinks that she saw Stephanie, but she's not 100% sure. But Drew was nowhere to be found.
So I made a post earlier, guys. I made a post earlier. But I'm flabbergasted right now. Because the girl that I thought I saw walked in, that looked like Stephanie, right? Remember I told you guys it looked like her walking in, right? Y'all, hold on real quick. Hold on. Y'all, this was sent to me. This fool got a warrant. Wait, and then I did some digging. Hold on, because I'm mind blown right now, because I really thought they went to court yesterday. Hold the fuck on. Hold on. And I'll show you what it's for. Hold on. Cite to appear. So this fool didn't appear. I was giving him grace. I thought he was going to appear. This was issued today, y'all. This was just sent to me by Care Bear. Care Bear sent this to me. It was posted on Facebook. I was really giving this man grace. I thought he showed up. I was like, okay, nope. Y'all. Flabbergasted. I really thought that girl that walked in looked like her. Like I said, I was sitting on the camera. So there was a female that walked in that dressed like, that Boo Boo the Foo. She dressed like Boo Boo the Foo. I'm not gonna lie. And I thought they were there. However, because they told me that the orientation was at 1:15, so that's when I got on. There was a lot of people in the courtroom. I said this. Hold on. Let me come back. I'm gonna take this off.
So here we are. It's official. Drew Jenkins has an active arrest warrant issued in Oregon, and this time there is no more room for excuses, no more room for spin, no last-minute TikTok lives or emotional distractions. Drew blew it, and not just for himself, but for everyone around him. This isn't some minor mistake. This is a legal crisis, one that's about to land him in jail, shake his family, and possibly trigger a long overdue shift in the custody of his son, Deshaawn. Let's break it all down. Back in early April, Drew was given an official court order for a very important hearing scheduled in May. This wasn't some surprise pop-up or confusion over dates. It was a formal legal notice about a serious case, one that could decide whether he would go to jail for failing to pay child support, and not just any child support case. This was about his own 12-year-old son, Deshaawn, with his ex, Arlita. So, the stakes couldn't have been higher. But instead of walking into the courtroom and taking responsibility, Drew chose to stay at home. No effort to contact a lawyer, no call to the court, no last-minute excuse, nothing. He just disappeared on a system that had already given him several chances. It was like he was daring the court to punish him, as if he truly believed the law didn't apply to him at all. Now, here's what makes this worse. Under Oregon law, not showing up to court when you've been officially summoned isn't just careless, it's criminal. It's considered a Class A misdemeanor, which is a serious charge. It can lead someone into jail for up to a year or cost them thousands in fines, specifically up to $6,250 US. And Joe isn't coming into this clean.
So nails by Arlita, yeah, she was wrong. Wrong. Drew Jenkins did not show up for court, which means there is a warrant out for his arrest. Let's start taking some data. Let's start seeing how long it's going to take before Stephanie Jenkins puts on a video on her Tickety Talk, basically talking about how he has some kind of ailment to get out of it again. As a matter of fact, if I had to give something, he has something, it would be, he's going to pass it on to one of his children that has something, and they're going to cite that as a reason. Or it's going to be like his mom or something that has some kind of ailment that prevents him from going to court. Because he's ducking and dodging and ducking. That's what he does, okay? He will do anything besides just get a 9 to 5. If he has to make up a whole entire life and lie and go with it in videos, he will. But what he will not do is just own up and man up.
Let's not forget, he was already held in contempt back in March for misleading the court about his job and refusing to make child support payments. That streak was already on his record. So when the court saw that he skipped his May hearing with no explanation, they didn't wait around. They didn't send a reminder or offer another delay. They immediately issued an arrest warrant. And now, Drew Jenkins is officially a wanted man in the eyes of the law. Unless something drastic happens, he's going to jail fast. And this time, there may not be a way out. Let's walk through the chain of events now the warrant is active. Because things are about to get real for Drew Jenkins, and not in a good way. The moment Drew is picked up by the law enforcement, he's not going back to the motel. He's not stopping back home for a quick goodbye. He's going straight into custody. This means that no more lounging around, no TikTok videos from his room, no more dodging the real world. He'll be behind bars, waiting for a judge to decide if and when he can be released. And here's where it gets worse. Missing court wasn't just irresponsible. It added another serious charge to his record, contempt of court. This isn't his first time either. The court already hit him with a contempt earlier this year for lying about employment and not paying child support. Now, he's added a second streak. This builds a picture for the court of someone who isn't just broke or struggling, but someone who refuses to follow the law. It shows a pattern of defiance, of manipulation, and honestly, of thinking the rules don't apply to him.
Drew from the Brazilian Jenkins has just been served by the police for contempt of court. I saw a woman on TikTok say that the police were able to serve him with paperwork from his ex of his oldest son. So not the one that he has, the one that he hasn't seen since he was 5 years old. So he hasn't seen his son since he was 5 years old. His first baby mom found out where they were because of the train that Stephanie posted on her 1-minute vlog or whatever.
Let's be clear, Joe doesn't have a job. He's never paid a cent of child support. And now, with this arrest warrant in place and a record that's stacking up against him, jail isn't a possibility. It's practically guaranteed. Depending on how the court views his repeated disobedience, he could be looking at several weeks, maybe even months behind bars. And let's not forget, bail costs money. And money is the one thing Drew doesn't have. So unless someone steps up and covers it for him, he's not going anywhere. He will stay locked up for a while the legal system starts closing in. Who would possibly step in? Who would be willing to pay that bail and try to save Drew from the mess he created? That brings us to Stephanie. Stephanie has been Drew's biggest supporter online. Every time he messes up, she's right there on camera in the comments or in the long-winded TikTok lives defending him. She's explained away every mistake, every poor decision, every legal violation with a kind of loyalty that makes you wonder, is this love or denial? She proudly called him her king, but at what cost? Because while she might think she's standing by her man, she might actually be digging a deeper hole for both of them. Both Stephanie and Drew were fully aware of the court date. It wasn't a secret, it wasn't unclear, it was a legal obligation, and yet Stephanie didn't encourage him to go. She didn't say, you need to show up for your son. She didn't push him to take responsibility. And you have to ask yourself, why? Was it just laziness? Was she afraid of what would happen in court? Or were they working together once again to dodge accountability? This wouldn't be the first time they pulled that stunt like that. Let's rewind to Drew's last court situation. Suddenly, coincidentally, he had a seizure right around the time he was expected to appear. And who told the world about it? Stephanie. She rushed to TikTok with a dramatic 10-minute monologue explaining how her king was too sick, too fragile, too unwell to go to court or even think about working.
So Drew Jenkins skipped his court hearing for child support by saying that he had a seizure. And you can see he says that he didn't get conscious until he was at the hospital. And then Stephanie last night posted a 10-minute video and she talks about her husband interacting with the paramedics at the shelter. How was he interacting with the paramedics if he didn't have consciousness till he got to the hospital? The littlest did not fall off a bed and get stitches. It's a fake account. You guys gotta read the usernames, but there are so many fake accounts popping up right now. So in Stephanie's 10-minute video, she starts out with the sweetest Christian voice. Drew had a seizure. Goes on to call Arlita jealous of their virality.
But even her own audience wasn't fully convinced. Many called her out. The comments were filled with skepticism, and now the judge will probably feel the same way. Here's the thing. If Stephanie really wants to help Drew, she's going to have to do more than make emotional videos. If he gets arrested, she'll have to come up with a bail money. And that money won't fall from the sky. It's going to come straight from her TikTok earnings, the same platform she's been grinding on to support her entire family while Drew sits at home. And it gets even riskier. If Drew is granted bail and then fails to show up again, that money gone, forfeited, thrown away, and for what? To protect someone who keeps running away from responsibility? It's a game where she keeps betting and losing. A losing game she keeps choosing to play, hoping this time will be different. But it never is. Had Drew simply shown up in court, even if he walked in with no money and no job, things could have gone differently. The Oregon legal system has options programs meant to help struggling parents get back on their feet. These programs can connect people like Drew to employment services, training opportunities, or resources to make paying child support possible over time. If Drew had shown the court he was willing to cooperate, even a little, the judge might have worked with him, maybe set him up with a job readiness program, maybe helped him create a payment plan, that matched what he could realistically afford. It wouldn't have been a magic fix, but it would have been a step in the right direction. The saddest part, Alita actually believed he had shown up. That's how much hope she still had in him. She saw someone walk into the courthouse who looked like Stephanie and thought Drew had finally decided to face the music, that he was so ready to set up as a father, take accountability. But no, it wasn't him. It was all just appearances, more smoke and mirrors, another illusion to make him seem like things were changing when they weren't. And instead of showing up, Drew went silent. And when you're dealing with the court, silence doesn't buy you time. It buys you trouble. The system doesn't reward avoidance, it punishes it. And now Drew is finding out exactly what those consequences look like the hard way.
Y'all, oh my God. Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Whoa, wait a minute. I gotta let the dog out. What? Wait a minute. Okay, so I made a post earlier, guys. I made a post earlier. But I'm flabbergasted right now because the girl that I thought I saw walked in that looked like Stephanie, right? Remember I told you guys it looked like her walking in, right? Y'all, hold on real quick. Hold on. Y'all, this was sent to me. This fool got a warrant. Wait, and then I did some digging. Hold on, because I'm mind blown right now because I really thought they went to court yesterday. Hold the fuck on. Hold on. And I'll show you what it's for. Hold on. Cite to appear. So this fool didn't appear. I was giving him grace. I thought he was going to appear. This was issued today, y'all. This was just sent to me by Care Bear. Care Bear sent this to me. It was posted on Facebook. I was really giving this man grace. I thought he showed up. I was like, okay, no. Y'all. Flabbergasted. I really thought that girl that walked in looked like her. Like I said, I was sitting on the camera. So there was a female that walked in that dressed like, that Boo Boo the Foo. She dressed like Boo Boo the Foo. I'm not gonna lie. And I thought they were there. However, because they told me that the orientation was at 1:15, so that's when I got on. There was a lot of people in the courtroom. I said this. Hold on. Let me come back. I'm gonna take this off. So I literally thought that they were there. Now, mind you, the video turned off. I tried to get back on, so court must have ended around like 2:30 or something like that. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. I'm not going to hear everything, but I heard what I needed to hear, what the process was for. This man is out here. He posted videos. Like, he good, right? He good. Yo, I ain't even got out my work clothes yet. Wait a minute.
Joe tried to game the system in the most modern way possible. He didn't look for a job. He didn't try to get training. He didn't attempt to prove to the court that he was taking his responsibilities seriously. Instead, he turned to TikTok. He launched a public account and begged viewers to help him reach 10,000 followers. Why? Because at that point, he could enter the creator fund and start earning money from the app. He promised to share a personal story as bait, hoping that curiosity alone would get him across the finish line. It was clear attempt to turn social media into a shortcut instead of putting in effort to build a stable income or demonstrate growth. Drew tried to frame likes and follows as a paycheck. His plan was to convince the court that his TikTok account would replace a traditional job, that the app would take care of his child support obligations. But the plan backfired. His account was flagged and banned. Then he made another one, starting the same process all over again. Different username, same desperation. He still hoped he could fool the system or at least buy himself more time. But even if that second account had succeeded, it wouldn't have changed the court's expectations. Courts don't care about follower accounts. They care about proof of income, pay stubs, tax documents, steady wages that can be legally tracked and, if necessary, garnished. TikTok doesn't guarantee income. It fluctuates, it disappears, and Drew's case, it did. His hopes of creator fund success were crushed before they even began. Drew's entire TikTok plan wasn't just unrealistic. It showed a complete misunderstanding of how the legal system works. The judge doesn't want dreams. The judge wants receipts, and Drew had none. Since being officially ordered by the court to pay child support for his son Deshaawn, Drew hasn't contributed a single dollar, not a cent, not even an effort to explain himself. Month after month, Alita waited, likely hoping he would take some small step toward being a responsible father, even a conversation or a partial payment, a letter, anything. But nothing came. It was silence, complete and deliberate silence. It's not like Drew tried to communicate, file for a modification, or even explain his financial situation. He acted like a court order didn't exist, like his own child didn't exist. And that's what ultimately forced Alita to take legal action. She didn't wake up one day wanting to go through the stress and cost of filing a case. She was pushed into the corner by Drew's total absence, not just financially, but emotionally and logistically. As a mother, she had to step in and do what was right for her child's safety, education, and basic needs. This wasn't about revenge, it was about survival. So how did Drew respond when court got involved? He didn't show up. He didn't send a lawyer. He didn't try to clear things up. Instead, he doubled down on the silence, ghosted the legal system like it was just another DM he could ignore. He had an opportunity, more than once, actually, to meet the court halfway, to come clean, to negotiate a payment plan, to ask for time. But he threw that opportunity away. He didn't just fail to pay, he failed to show any remorse, any effort, any maturity. And in doing so, he sent a message to the court, to Alita, and to Deshaawn, I don't care. That's not just negligence, that's outright defiance. It's disrespectful, it's irresponsible, and it's dangerous. Dangerous because it tells the court this isn't a one-time mistake. It's a pattern of refusal, a pattern of pushing responsibility onto others while dodging accountability. And patterns like that don't end without consequences. Now, Drew is facing those consequences head-on, and the only person he can blame is himself. Stephanie will be left alone in that cramped motel room with 5 children, trying to keep things together while Drew sits in jail. And sure, if we're talking finances, nothing much changes. She's already the one making ends meet, stretching every dollar earned from TikTok just to put food on the table. But take a deeper look and everything changes. Emotionally, this is another blow. Logistically, it's another weight on her shoulders. She'll now have to juggle parenting 5 kids by herself, managing their routines, their emotions, their needs, all while pretending everything's fine for the internet. But the biggest shift, that one that can't be ignored, is what this means for Deshaawn. He's already been struggling in that unstable environment, caught between a father who refuses to show up and a stepmom who isn't legally or emotionally equipped to fill the role of guardian. Now, with Drew gone, Deshaawn becomes even more vulnerable. He's not just another child in the motel, he's the one who's likely to get overlooked, dismissed, or even worse, treated like an outsider in a family that isn't biologically his. And the emotional toll that takes, it can be heavy, especially on a child who's already been denied stability, safety, and the presence of his real mother. This moment isn't just about Stephanie having to manage alone. It's about what happens when a child like Deshaawn, who's already been sidelined, loses the one parent who was standing between him and complete displacement. Desiree has long been fighting, sometimes silently, sometimes publicly, for custody for her son Deshaawn. It hasn't been an easy journey. Drew has made it nearly impossible, dodging legal action, ignoring court responsibilities, and refusing to acknowledge Desiree's place as Deshawn's mother. She's tried before to step in, but Drew always blocked her, sometimes with silence, sometimes with legal loopholes. But now, with Drew potentially going to jail, the tide is finally shifting, and for once, it's shifting for her favor. She can now file for emergency custody, and this time, the odds are actually on her side. Here's why. Parental rights. Desiree is Deshaawn's biological mother. That alone gives her the strongest legal footing. She has the fundamental right to custody, especially now that the father is facing incarceration. In court, biology matters, but so does presence and effort, both of which she's been trying to give for years. Best interest of the child. When deciding custody, courts always focus on what's best for the child. Deshaawn has been living in a motel, shuffled around in a crowded space with 5 other kids, and no clear sense of stability. Meanwhile, Desiree has a home, a stable job, a bedroom for her son. She can provide the structure and the safety that Deshaawn has been missing. This isn't just about legal rights, it's about emotional safety and physical well-being. Legal options. Since there are currently no formal court custody orders in place, just personal arrangements, the Drew-controlled Desiree has the opportunity to start afresh. She can file for full custody, backed by Drew's absence, and finally give her son a consistent and supportive home. Step-parent involvement. Stephanie, no matter how involved she's been, holds no legal claim to Deshaawn. She's not married to Drew, she hasn't adopted Deshaawn, and even what, there's documented history of troubling behavior, like the alleged black eye incident, which will absolutely raise red flags in court. Her current role will be seen as temporary and unstable at best. Desiree may have lacked the financial power before, but now, with Drew's legal troubles stacking up, she has something even more powerful, leverage. The legal system is finally leaning in her direction, and all she has to do is take the right steps to bring her son home. He's going to jail, that much is clear. There's no more wiggle room, no more avoiding the inevitable. He's going to face another round of contempt charges, this time not just for failure to pay child support, but for blatantly disrespecting a court order. That alone will speak volumes to the judge about the kind of person Drew has chosen to be. And even if by some miracle he scrapes together enough support to post bail, the court would not be lenient. They've seen this pattern before, and now they're likely to come down harder than even before. At this point, everything is unraveling. The consequences aren't stacking, they are collapsing on him. No job to present in court, no steady income to support his family, no legal plan or strategy, and now no custody of his son. It's like watching a house of cards fall, and every card is marked with a missed opportunity. Let's be honest, Drew had options. He could have found a part-time job. He could have appeared in court even just to show he was willing to cooperate. He could have taken accountability, admitted fault, apologized sincerely, and worked with the system instead of against it. But he didn't do any of that. Instead, he chose silence, he chose excuses, he chose TikTok and pity over progress and growth. And now, it's not just Drew paying the price, it's his family, it's Deshaawn, who might finally be getting a shot at stability, but only because his father failed him. It's Stephanie, who will have to carry the weight of explaining Drew's absence to the children. It's the kids who will suffer emotionally, watching yet another adult in their lives taken away, not because of justice, but because of his own decision. The kids are living through trauma every day: homelessness, instability, lack of safety. One child wrote a letter saying that they felt forgotten on their birthday. Another deals with being left out and ignored. And now, their dad might be taken away in handcuffs. That's no longer about court papers. It's about the emotional damage being done to innocent children who deserve better, who didn't ask for this. Drew Jenkins is not the victim. Deshaawn is. These kids are, and Stephanie even. If she doesn't wake up soon, will find herself on the losing end of a battle she could have helped avoid. This arrest could be a wake-up call they all needed. The question is, will they take it? Will Stephanie stop defending him and start pushing him to do better? Will Desiree get her son back? Will the courts finally put Deshawn's well-being above Drew's endless excuses? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Drew deserves jail time? Is this finally Desiree's moment of reclaim her child? Should Stephanie continue defending a man who refuses to defend himself? Like, share, and subscribe, because trust me, this story is only just beginning.